This story is generated and narrated by AI. If you notice any glitches in the voice, feel free to leave a comment. Your feedback helps improve future videos. Have you ever worked the night shift, completely alone? In tonight's story, I'll share what happened during one such shift, a ghost, a loop, and a time that always returns, 3:17 a.m. Let me know in the comments if you've ever experienced anything strange at night, or maybe something that kept repeating itself. I don't know what time it is anymore. I haven't known for a while. The clock says 3:17. It always says 3:17. If you're listening to this, if somehow you're outside of whatever this is, then maybe you can stop it. Maybe you can keep it from spreading. Or maybe you're already in it too, and you just haven't realized yet. It started, or at least I think it started, 7 nights ago. I worked the night shift at a gas station just off Route 11, middle of nowhere, halfway between cornfields and nowhere else. There's a single road light that flickers when the wind hits it right, a coffee machine that spits more steam than liquid, and a bathroom key tied to a wrench so no one walks off with it. I used to like the solitude. It felt clean out here, quiet, predictable, but the stillness, it can play tricks on you, and sometimes it lets something else through. The first night was uneventful. That's what made it stand out. It was too uneventful. You don't usually notice things not happening, but I did. The trucker didn't come in for his usual cigarettes. The vending machine didn't jam. Even the clock on the wall, which always ran a minute fast, was exactly on time. I remember standing there behind the counter, drumming my fingers against the register, staring at the clock as it ticked from 3:16 to 3:17, and that's when she walked in. The woman was, I don't know, plain, I guess. At first glance, shoulder-length dark hair, gray coat, no makeup, no jewelry. She walked slowly, like she was gliding, went straight to the candy aisle, picked up a red-wrapped chocolate bar. I remember because no one ever buys those, and she walked to the counter without saying a word. I rang her up. She handed me a 5, exact change, didn't look me in the eye. I said, "Have a good night," just out of habit. She turned and walked out into the dark, not a glance back. I didn't think much of it. Weird things happen on night shifts. Transient people, tired people. But the next night, at exactly 3:17, she came in again. Same steps, same coat, same chocolate bar, same silence. On the third night, I got this weird chill in my spine when I saw her. Not fear, not yet. Just that sense that something's off. Something's not quite sitting right. She hadn't blinked once. I realized that. Her eyes stayed wide the whole time, not bugged out, not strained, just fixed, like her body was running on script. I started taking notes after that. I didn't tell anyone. It's not like I had many people to talk to anyway. Just my supervisor during shift change, old man Marty, who smelled like pipe tobacco and regret. He'd laugh it off if I told him. So I bought a cheap spiral notebook and started logging the 3:17 visits, her entrances, what she wore, what she bought, every time. The same. On the 5th night, I did something different. I spoke before she could walk past. Long night out there. I said, trying to sound casual. She froze, not in a natural way, more like a frame that hadn't loaded. Then she tilted her head just a little too far, like a bird hearing an unfamiliar sound, and without a word, she walked out. That was the first night I dreamed of her. I saw her standing in the middle of the road outside the station, wind howling, but her coat didn't move. She was looking at me, or through me, and behind her, the sky wasn't sky anymore. It was just static. The next day, I checked the CCTV. I wanted to prove to myself that she was real, that I wasn't hallucinating from sleep deprivation. But when I scrubbed through the footage, there was no one at 3:17 a.m., no movement. Just a still frame of the store. I checked the register history. The transaction was there. $5 cash sale. SKU matched the candy bar. I checked the trash. The wrapper was there, still faintly sticky where her hand had touched it. But on the camera, nothing. That's when I realized something was wrong with time itself, not just with her, but everything around her. The radio had played the same song at 3:12 a.m. for 4 nights in a row, some 80s ballad I used to like. The coffee machine hissed the same steam puff at the same second every night. Even the flies buzzed in the same lazy orbit near the lights. I replayed it in my head. Each loop felt tighter than the last, like the universe was running out of tape and just kept rewinding the last few seconds. On the 6th night, I stood by the door. I wanted to see if she'd appear out of the dark, or if she'd emerge from the road, or maybe from nowhere at all. At 3:17 a.m., the door chime rang. But this time, I hadn't seen her walk up. She was just there, one frame empty. The next, her. And this time, she looked at me, not past me, not through me, at me. Her eyes were wrong, not glowing, not hollow, just too deep, like staring into a tunnel with no end. Her lips moved. She said something I couldn't hear. No sound came out, like my ears had muted themselves. I blinked, and suddenly, I was back at the beginning of the shift, Marty handing me the keys, the same lame joke about don't forget to feed the rats. But I had the wrapper from the night before in my pocket, crumpled, warm, real. The loop hadn't erased me, not yet. That brings me to now. I think tonight is the 7th loop, or maybe the 70th. I don't know what happens when it hits a limit, but I feel something coming. There's a tightness in the air, like the world is breathing in, but never exhaling. And I think tonight, she's going to speak again. There's this sound I keep hearing now, right before she arrives. It's not anything you'd notice at first, not a bang, not a scream. It's more like a click, subtle, mechanical, like someone turning a dial just slightly off-center, like a record needle skipping into the same groove. I hear it just before the clock ticks to 3:17, and then she enters, always from the left side of the door, always with the same number of steps, always without a shadow. But last night, the 7th night, if I'm still counting correctly, I tried something new. I blocked the door, dragged one of the metal display racks across the entrance, bolted it with a broomstick handle I'd snapped in half. It wasn't elegant, but it should have stopped her. Should have. I watched the minute tick from 3:16 to 3:17, and then she was already inside. No chime, no door movement, no reaction to the barricade. She was just standing in the candy aisle, holding the red-wrapped chocolate bar, staring at me. I didn't move, didn't speak. I felt like if I said one word, the whole place would collapse inward, like the universe had been stretched too tight. She walked up to the counter, eyes never blinking, and placed the chocolate bar down like before. But this time, she held her hand out, palm open, like she was asking for something. "I don't know what you want," I whispered. She didn't react, but I swear, I heard myself twice, like an echo, delayed, but wrong, like it had taken a shortcut through some broken dimension and came out cracked. And then she spoke. Her mouth moved, slow, deliberate. I leaned in, despite every instinct screaming not to, and heard 3 words. Words that didn't fit together, didn't make sense, but they landed inside me, like a stone dropped into a well. stay in frame. And then she vanished. No blink, no fade, just gone. The chocolate bar remained. So did her handprint on the counter, smudged like ash, cold as ice. I stumbled back, knocked over a stack of windshield wipe fluid. The bottles rolled, but made no sound. I looked around. Every object was still, like a paused video. The clock still said 3:17. It had been 3:17 for over an hour. I pulled out my phone. Dead. I flicked the station radio on. White noise. I turned off the ceiling lights. Nothing changed. Still as bright as ever. Time had stopped. Or maybe I had. That's when I noticed the mirror. We have a convex mirror in the corner for blind spots. Cheap plastic, warped reflection. I looked up into it, and I wasn't there. The store was, the rack was, even the smudge on the counter was visible, but I wasn't. I stumbled to the bathroom, flipped on the flickering fluorescent, stared into the scratched-up mirror above the sink, and saw her. Not me, her. Her eyes met mine through the glass, though I wasn't even in frame. She whispered again, this time clearer. You weren't supposed to notice. I fell backward, slipped on the floor, and the lights blinked out. When I opened my eyes, it was the start of my shift again. Marty. Keys. The same old joke. But this time, when I turned to the clock, it said 3:17 already. No shift had passed, and 0 hours had counted. The loop, it wasn't repeating anymore. It was collapsing. I found my spiral notebook and flipped through the entries. Each night's entry was gone. Every page blank, except the last .1 line, written in red ink I didn't own. You are the static now. I didn't tell Marty about any of it. What could I say? Hey man, I think I'm trapped in a collapsing time loop with a ghost that speaks in broken riddles and leaves ash on the counter. No, he'd just call in sick and leave me there alone. But I wasn't alone anymore. Even during the daytime, something lingered. The shadows in the store stretched too far. The lights hummed with a tone just slightly off key. I was starting to hear things, soft whispers from the fridge aisle. A faint scraping sound from behind the wall-mounted coffee station. And worst of all, the clock above the register would sometimes skip, just blink from 2:45 to 3:17, and I'd already know she was there. But she didn't always show herself anymore. Sometimes I'd catch a reflection of her in the freezer door. Other times, I'd glance at the monitor feed, the grainy black and white security footage, and see her standing just outside the door, unmoving. And then, the dream started bleeding in. I dreamt I was inside the convex mirror, unable to move, just watching myself walk around the store. Only, it wasn't me. It looked like me, moved like me, but there was something in the eyes, hollow, like they were borrowed. One night, maybe the 10th, maybe the 100th, I stayed after my shift, locked the doors, killed the lights. I needed to face her. I stood by the register, eyes fixed on the clock. 3:15, 3:16. And then, I whispered, if you're real, if this is real, then let me remember, let me see it. The air dropped 10 degrees in seconds. Every screen in the store, my phone, the monitors, even the gas pump displays, flickered to life. All of them showed the same thing, my own face, dead still, mouth wide open like I was screaming, but no sound came out. And then, the clock clicked to 3:17. She stepped out from behind the energy drink cooler, not through a door, not from outside, just out of nowhere, like she'd always been folded between the shelves, waiting. She didn't speak. This time, I did. "What do you want from me?" She tilted her head and slowly raised her hand, revealing something clenched in her palm, a photo. She placed it on the counter, next to a chocolate bar. It was me, standing at this same register, but the timestamp in the corner said August 29th, 1998, 3:17 a.m. That made no sense. I was born in 1992. I would have been 6. I turned the photo over. On the back, scrawled in what looked like burned in ink, "You've always been here." I stumbled back, hit the cigarette rack. Carton spilled onto the floor, but made no sound, just like before. "You're part of the frame now," she whispered, and her voice, this time, came from every speaker in the store at once. I looked up and realized there were no cameras mounted anymore, and no mirrors, and no clock. Everything had been stripped bare. The fluorescent lights buzzed louder and louder until it felt like they were drilling into my skull, and then they cut out. Darkness. When they flicked back on, I wasn't in the gas station. I was in the mirror, looking out at myself. But the version of me behind the register wasn't moving. He was frozen in place, like a photograph taped to a pane of glass. And behind him, stepping into view, was her. Only now, her face was mine. I don't know how long I was inside the mirror. Hours, days, maybe longer. There's no time in there. Just reflections, endless, silent, still. Sometimes I'd see myself behind the register, moving like nothing had happened, scanning items, counting change. Other times, I'd see her, wearing my face, speaking in a voice that almost sounded like mine. And always, that moment at 3:17, it would arrive. And she would look at the mirror, directly into it, right at me, smile, and whisper the same words every time. "You're part of the frame now." Eventually, I stopped fighting it. I stopped screaming, stopped pounding on the glass, stopped trying to wake up. There was no more waking up. But something changed. One night, or whatever passes for night in that place, I saw something new. The version of me behind the counter. He blinked, paused, and then slowly turned toward the mirror. Not the ghost, me. He leaned in and whispered, "I remember now." And just like that, the mirror cracked. A single line down the center, like a knife had kissed the surface. And I felt something pulling, a current, a pressure behind my eyes. And then I woke up. On the floor of the gas station, back behind the counter, lights flickering, clock blinking, 3:17 a.m. I was alone. No woman, no mirrors, no voice. I ran outside. The air was cold, real. The sound of a passing car on the highway almost brought me to tears. I looked at my hands, still trembling. I was real. The next night, I quit, told Marty I was done, didn't even wait for his reaction. I left the keys in the register and walked out. Never looked back. But sometimes, I still wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, with the sound of a beep in my ears. And a date burned into my mind like a brand. August 29th, 1998, 3:17 a.m. Sometimes I wonder if I actually escaped, or if I just shifted to a different version of the loop. If maybe all I did was move from the mirror into the frame. So what do you think really happened to me? Was I saved? Or did I just become part of the frame? If you enjoyed this AI horror story, let me know by hitting like and subscribing for more unsettling tales like this one. Comment below. What would you do if time reset every night at the exact same second?